Today, we have such a fun guest, and I have to ask you, as a woman, have you ever gone on a girls' trip where maybe you're next to a pool or a lake and you really wished you had some cabana boys around you? If so, I have the gal that can make that happen wherever you are in the world. We have Liz Hahn with us. She is the CEO of Bad Girl Productions. And I just want to tell you a little background about Bad Girl Productions. So they have been around for a long time. They provide, what would you call
entertainment services for
entertainment
bachelor parties.
Yeah, so for bachelor or bachelorette parties. And what's cool about you, Liz, is that you took this company over when you were in college. And what I read was that you were able to pay cash for your entire tuition, and you went to UC San Diego, which was not cheap, still isn't cheap. But fast forward to today, you took a company that was doing well, but now you are globally recognized as an industry leader in the bachelor and bachelorette parties. So well done.
Thank you, Midori.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about you. As before we got on to the interview, we're saying how we're all about helping women play bigger, right? So talk to us about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Awesome. Well, it's a fun journey. I would say when I started my company, I bought it out so I could have some sort of income to put myself through college. And when I bought it, it was just a pager and a list of phone numbers. I mean, that's how long it's been. Like, we've had this company for 32 years. So once I got the pager and phone numbers, like, the business kind of died because all the friends knew that the guy sold it and I owned it. So I had to build it from square one. So the first order of business is I added the word production to the name, got landlines and office lines, and then just started guerrilla marketing. And this is, in the 90s. So just a lot of got to get the word out there and just being out every day and just putting the message out. And then the internet came around 3-4 years later, and that was a game changer. So those were long time ago. But now today, 32 years later, we've scaled from this teeny tiny little company in San Diego of a party planning company to now we're nationwide, and we have a lot of clients come in from all over the world. Canada and London, Australia, Spain, Brazil. They fly into our destination cities, and we just book up all their events for their bachelor party and bachelorette party weekend.
Oh, fun. Okay, great. So talk to me about some of the challenges, because I can imagine there have been some legal challenges, as well as many other challenges that we face in general as entrepreneurs, but also especially in your industry. So talk to me about some of the big things that you've had to overcome and how you've done it without losing your mind. Or maybe you did lose your mind. So just tell us what happened.
Yeah, well, I mean, being in this entertainment space, you're working, I come from Hollywood too. So you're dealing with a lot of Hollywood bigwigs. It's male dominated. Back then it was just had a different skew. So you're really up against a lot. But at the same time, I had a lot of good mentors that I leaned in on, and a lot of good other entrepreneurs that own businesses or large, say entertainment companies that are global, and was just really to lean in and ask questions. And that really helped me become a real success. And to just vision myself bigger and maybe see at the time, see the world through the man's eyes where they're scaling, but then build it as a woman, where you build foundation and build systems and build grounding. And the thing that's always kept me perpetuated was empowerment. It's your why. Why did I start this entertainment company? And my why was to really empower and help the talent, both men and women. So if I can empower them, then they're going to be the best talent on all rosters. So people are going to continuously come to my entertainment agency. So we have an empowerment course that's within Bad Girls that helps all the people how to save your money, how to start other businesses with your money that you're making. So it's really just focusing back on that why.
Oh, very cool. I love that you do that, because so many people don't know. We have a number of different businesses, and one of our businesses, we have all young people working for us, and they're terrible with money. And so the fact that you help them learn how to plan for their future is amazing. That's awesome. Okay. So what else? When was a time, or even share a story where something challenging, like big time challenging, happened, and how did you get through it?
Oh my gosh, yes, big time challenges. Well, one was, internet. Like I think there was like in the 90s, everything was great, but in the 2000s, the internet was really growing and changing. So at one point, like we were just off like all the search engines. Our sites didn't have any organic SEO, or at least I thought they did, but they didn't. And it was really trying to hire like the right team. I must have gone through 4 or 5 different SEO experts, quote unquote experts, at varying things from 300 a month to 500 a month to $3,000 a month. And just to try to get us back on the map. And I finally, it was really challenging. So I kept seeing like other websites dominating over me, and it was depressing. So I'm like, no, I'm like the biggest agency. I got to get out there. So I searched for a really good team that did SEO and organic SEO. And after consistency of that, after 2 years, like we now rank page 1, number 1. So if you have any web presence at all in any of your businesses, a strong, knowledgeable, powerful SEO team, dump all your money into that if you need web presence. That's what the key to success. Once we hired that team, that's what really put us on the map nationwide. So it was good. I mean, we don't have brick and mortar. We're all internet based. So that's where I chose to put all my investment dollars in.
I remember Google, because you and I are probably close in age, because when you're talking about when you started and everything else, that's about when I started my first business. And I remember we were one of the first adopters of Google AdWords. Remember when Google AdWords came out, right? We could ditch the yellow pages.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right. So that was probably about 75% of our business was coming in from Google AdWords, until Google did something and it shut us down. And we had just a mainstream company and it shut us down. We're like, oh my gosh. So that is why SEO, one of the reasons why SEO is so important. We have to spread our eggs out a bit. You can't have them all in one place, because you don't, just like, don't put everything into one social media platform if that's so important for your business, right? It's just, you have to be prepared as a business owner for all those tech issues that can happen that you have no control over, right? So
control over. Yeah. I mean, you just got to be careful and like diversify your marketing strategy online. So if something happens with Google, will you still show up in Bing? Will you still show up in social? Do you have do you have email contacts for all of your clients? Like, what is your reach and touch point, and how soon and how quick can you get a hold of your customers if something should happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a big obstacle. But now that we're there, we're kind of like, the next big obstacle for me was hiring people to help run the company. Because when you're scaling, you just really have to like start delegating things that you just either don't want to do. It's not your strong suit. It's not your zone of genius, or you just you need more time off so you can stay truly a visionary with your company. So I'm in another phase where I'm looking for another player to come kind of take over all the roles that I need to do, which would be like an operations manager that specializes in internet marketing. So I can really step back and start scaling the company to even more locations and stuff like that. So that's an obstacle I'm kind of like in right now, because I'm like, I need to start looking for that. But in that space, you also need to, make sure your contracts are in place, your vendor agreements are in place. Will this person be an employee or a contractor? All of that stuff, and then just make sure that you protect yourself and your intellectual property. I know you mentioned something about lawsuits earlier. We have a number of websites that are out there that try to copycat us. We have a full, a legal team that goes after any copycat websites, or if we have trademarks, so that sometimes there's trademark infringements. So protecting your intellectual property is, you have to put a lot of dollars into that as well. I mean, it's a good place to be. My lawyers just say, well, that just means you're at a certain level, because now everyone's trying to copy you. And you just really got to protect that and not it definitely feels betrayal, but you just got to like trust that the lawyers are handling it. And you just got to focus on your big picture vision.
That's a good point to make, because as our businesses grow, the expenses grow, things come up that maybe we didn't plan for originally, such as legal, right? When my first business was growing, we'd hire an attorney here or there. But then when you get to a certain point, you need to have someone that you can pick up the phone and call, right? So you get to different levels. And just like you're talking about, now you're at a point where, we want to be able to create the reason why we go into business for ourselves is we want to have a certain lifestyle. And we want to be in control. That is the entrepreneurial spirit, right? And to do that, we have to have the right people in place. And one thing that I hear all the time, Liz, I don't know if you hear this from entrepreneurs that but as these businesses are growing, so many people get scared of hiring, especially at the level that you're talking about, where you need a COO, right? But that's when if you're a visionary type of leader, and you can then go hire someone who's more of the implementer type of leader, man, your business can skyrocket. And that's one of the key elements for growth, especially if you want to get really big. You have to be able to trust and find the right people and be able to pay that person appropriately to keep them and to attract them, right? So what are some of the ways that you go about hiring when you need to hire someone who's in a key role for your company?
Well, one of the things I'll do is I'll take a little intake, like what are the tasks, my day-to-day tasks that I'm finding myself doing, things that as most entrepreneurs, we're hustlers, we'll just do it ourselves. Oh, it's like, oh, I can do that credit card charge, or, oh, I can change that web page, or I could write that blog, or I can do X, Y, Z. So I just start writing down everything I did in the day. And then I'll get like my job description, like, hey, there's this thing, this looks like, like this could be an operations manager or a project manager or a marketing director. And then I'll start categorizing everything I'm doing until I get a healthy list. Because one of the things when you're hiring someone, it's like, how do you tell a person everything that's in your brain? Like, hey, I need you to do all this stuff in my brain. Is you really have to start writing it down, creating SOPs, tracking all of the little steps you do, even if it seems super obvious. Sometimes it's not super obvious, so you just have to write down every single thing and then hand that off to a person. I believe in hiring slow and firing fast. So like when you're, putting your ad copy out there, whether it's on LinkedIn or Craigslist, you can have a very detailed job description, but make sure you ask some qualifying questions because you want to make sure that they're reading those questions, not just sending a resume like, oh, I want to work for this company. Ask them like, what's your favorite dog? And then do they answer that in the cover letter? Or ask them a technical question and then see if they can answer it right away. That it's something that can't be Googled or through ChatGPT. Like a technical question, like, I don't know, like you have to set up a winery tour in Spain and you don't speak the language and 100 guests are coming and we need to find the best restaurant. What do you do? And then just see how they problem solve all that. And that's kind of specific to my industry with event planning, but you can come up with some really fun questions just to get them to problem solve and make sure that that answer is in the body of their cover letter. And that kind of eliminates the hundreds of resumes or emails you might get. So now you're looking at the top, 10 resumes or 20 resumes just to start whittling it down. And then just start interviewing the people and see if they're interested and make sure that there's a connection. And if they say they're detailed orientated and they didn't answer any of his questions, well, then they're not detailed orientated.
Yeah, you can throw that out. So what's your next stage? Like what's your next, in Fuel the Fire, we have something called the Summit Goal Mapping Framework. And so when I'm working with clients, I'm always talking about, okay, let's think of your summit. What's your 12-month or 3-year summit that you really want to get to? And what's that look like? So for you, what is that? It can be your 12-month or your 3-year.
So okay, for 12 months, my big picture vision is kind of all written out, which is, where I'm spending my time. Like big picture vision for like what the business is doing, but what am I doing? So I want to spend more time on the beach and more time on my boat and with my fiance and my dog and my mom and my brother, my family. So that's my big picture vision. And I want to have, a really good, healthy income stream and employ a lot of people so everyone else has healthy income streams. So I kind of take that's my big picture vision. I vision what I feel like, what am I wearing, what am I doing each day. And then now I'm looking at what am I doing day to day? I'm doing a lot of operation manager stuff. So for me, this right now, in 1 year, I have a really healthy operation manager. We have a great relationship. We're super communicative. They're helping the business grow. I can give this person an idea and they know how to implement it, know how to get all the right CRMs and everything programmed. It's like they're the implementer. They know how to do that. Where I'm just like stay in the vision mode. So my big summit goal in 1 year, like we talk next year, I hope I have this rock star operations manager in place. Like that would be really awesome. And then in 3 years, you know, I'm hoping that we're in definitely more multiple locations, just so we can start really just being out there and have, you know, we'll be in Nashville and Tampa and New Orleans. So I'm really excited about opening in multiple locations because what I built is so scalable. So I'm excited to be in all those areas.
And I see that all happening for you.
Thank you.
Just from your track record. So it sounds like, do you use EOS?
No, but I've heard of it. I've been poking around at that site for sure and getting the implementer, or it's called something else, not implementer.
Integrator.
Integrator.
Yeah, the person who does all, yeah, we're the visionaries. So most entrepreneurs are visionaries. We have the big pictures, right? But then we need the person to execute, because we rather be being creative and build, you know, and doing more of the creative part of the business, right? But then we need someone to actually execute and follow through and get it done with us overseeing it. And, you know, we all have our, like you said, our zone of genius, and then we have our zone of weakness, and we have to be clear on both of those. So
Great.
I love that you brought that up. Okay, so now we are switching gears a little bit.
Okay.
And we're going to play a game. So I heard you say that you're engaged, but that doesn't matter today. We are talking about if you got to go and have a sky's the limit date with anyone. So you can go all day long. You can do whatever you want. It can be on a plane. It could be to an island. You like the beach, whatever. Who would you choose to go with? I'm going to give you a choice of 3 people, but you can fill in who you would prefer instead.
Okay.
So number 1 is, let's see, who should I give? Yeah. How about Tony Robbins, P. Diddy, or Coco Chanel?
Oh, those are all good ones. I'm really big into personal development and growth, so I'd have to go with Tony Robbins. If I was going to do a fill-in person, if you didn't say that, it would have been Richard Branson, because he's so entrepreneurial and so open to letting entrepreneurs come over to his island, Necker Island. So I would go for Tony Robbins. Okay, perfect. And why? Because he's all about personal development and how to train your brain, your mind, your body, your spirit to be performing at optimal daily optimal, and just he's studied everything, so he knows everything. He leads people through such transformation, and I'd want to be around a transformational person that also is inspirational. So if you can just spend a weekend with Tony Robbins, different islands flying around, and just being right there with that knowledge source and that wealth of information, my God, that'd be so transformational. Right. I think just through osmosis with him, because he has so much energy and it just vibrates from him. I just think it could be through osmosis. Yeah, so that would be awesome, because that would be a game changer. You would be able to up level so much in your life. Agreed. Totally. He'd be amazing. Okay. So if someone is having a party and they want to have some fun entertainment and pump it up, where can they find more information about you? You can go to badgirlpro.com. And we have both the Bachelor and Bachelorette parties. And for the Bachelorette parties, we do cabana boys, we do the butler services, we do the male entertainers, and we do bartenders. We also book all the wine tours and yacht parties. So you can have all those guys on a yacht, and you can just hang out in your bikini and be served champagne. Perfect. Who doesn't want that? I know. Thank you. Right? Thank you so much for being here. This was a lot of fun, and I'm never going to think of another Bachelorette party the same. Good. Okay. Thanks so much for having me. I love everything you're doing, and it's just wonderful. And I hope that this helped inspire other women. I know it will. To be the best, you need to play with the best. You might not have your own personal high-level circle of women yet, but you can hang with us on the Female Millionaire Show. I'm Midori Verity, serial entrepreneur for over 25 years. And I interview badass female founders and cut through to what you really need to know.
So in 20 minutes, you have what can take years to learn. If you're wanting to play bigger, come play with us. Join the female entrepreneur revolution today. Cheers.